Today we're going to be installing some Kryptonite front control arms on Flex truck.
All it takes is one job, oh yeah. All it takes is one job, and everything is gonna be okay.
Kryptonite has made a pretty good name for themselves on Duramax parts for the GMT 800 chassis. This front end, compared to the Power Stroke and the Dodge, a lot of people have given it a little bit of grief because with an independent front suspension, you have things that will break. Kryptonite has made some pretty bulletproof parts. Them, Cognito, and PPE have really made a big difference in strengthening the front end of this. One thing that's kind of neat about their ball joints is that it's a bolt-in setup and the pockets are made so that it can bolt in through the top or onto the bottom. And so where we have a fairly steep angle on our upper arm on this, we're going to bolt the ball joints in on the bottom. When you loosen the nut on the ball joint, I like to bring this castle nut down, but not all the way off. And then once you separate this, when it goes, it'll catch itself. So we just need to separate that. You can either use a pickle fork in between here, or you can contact right there, just to separate that taper from this piece.
As you can see, as Jared's pulling these pieces off, this is kind of what I was talking about with the sandblasting and painting. Now that we're replacing parts, everything's clean. You know, it's not covered in grease and dirt. And now that you're putting your new parts on, you know, everything's ready to go. You're not gonna mask off that new part or have to work around that or, you know, whatever. But you can see, you know, everything's really okay with sandblasting and painting as you're together.
One thing I like to do with any kit like this is lay out my hardware that they gave us, and then you can see kind of what they want you to do. You can see that there are twice as many washers as these, so you know you're going to have a flat on either side.
I think we just, while this thing's, you know, this frame's been in project mode for ever.
Right, so here's one arm complete. And if we can have Bo play some sad music over here for this one. We've got the stock arm versus the beautiful Kryptonite arm.
What are you doing?
Oh no. So here's a demonstration of what happens when you run out of ball joint angle, but you've still got preload. This is barely moving at all, and a lot of that is because it's still trying to down travel, but that ball joint's seized up. So if we go over here to the other side, and I'm gonna fall, like, for sure, but you can see that with the same amount of force, you've actually got movement here. So, should be a lot better.
That's pretty amazing, you know. I've been worried about this suspension because it did look jacked and it wasn't moving. And yeah, Jared's right on point where it's just all about that angle. All about that angle of the dangle. It's nice to just see the ball joint not being totally hammered. This is really unsafe here. This frame we got from a guy that was doing a project on a, he was putting this frame under like a 70 C10 or something. And I don't know if this chassis was ever driven like this, but if it was, man, that was dangerous, because even with the motor in it, that thing is still sitting exactly like that.
All it takes is one job, oh yeah. All it takes is one job, One job